I just remember watching Star Wars as a little girl, playing Star Wars in my living room and my family room with my siblings, and watching. My favorite was R2-D2 and of course Princess Leia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Machtails from the Cantina Live, episode 56. On tonight's episode, we celebrate Women's History Month.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
With special guest, Vader Girl, actress Eabu Windermere, and Sarah Wolowski from Skywalking Through Neverland. And as usual, behind the board, we have show producer Matthew Rooney. Sit back, crack open a cold one, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Now here's your host and my handsome husband, Chris Mock, live from inside the Wampa Cave. Wampa! Let the tomfoolery and hijinks begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Machtails from the Cantina Live. Welcome to you first-time viewers. I feel like it's been a while since we've done a live show. I think the last live show we did was the Tad Lasso Love Fest back in early February before Valentine's Day. Hey, we got a special show. We are getting close to the end of the month. March, of course, is Women's History Month, and I want to celebrate all things women in Star Wars. Now, what gives me the right to even host a show with this topic, middle-aged white male? Because, let me tell you, after my father committed suicide when I was 7, I was raised by my older sister, I was raised by my mother, I was best friends and an employee of my grandmother. My sister Courtney, who unfortunately is too busy to join us this evening, she replaced the best man and was the best woman at my wedding when I married my wife, Michelle, and I have a daughter. So I think I'm at liberty to celebrate all things females when it comes to the Star Wars franchise. There is going to be way too much to cover in an hour. I do want to remind you guys right now, I just released a great in-depth interview with associate producer of The Empire Strikes Back. He was also producer on Return of the Jedi, Jim Bloom. Please join me on Patreon. You can do this for free for 7 days. This will get you access to, God, I think I got 1,000 posts now. We've been doing this show for a long time now. And you get a chance to win a Jim Bloom 8x10 signed autograph that he was so gracious, not only with his time, but to sign a couple photos. So head over to Patreon, take advantage of this 7-day trial free, set it on the calendar, and, end your free trial. But without further ado, we are going to start the show off how we usually end the show. We're going to break it open with some really fun games with some really fun and talented people. Welcome back to the show. Eabu Windermere, yeah, you were just on this show, so welcome back so quickly. And people remember you, of course, from The Force Among Us. Sarah from Skywalking Through Neverland, you're no stranger to this show as well. Again, thank you for returning to the show. Now, we're going to get into some things this evening that I might not have the facts 100% straight, so I do want to send my listeners that are looking for the right facts and the right dates the show that you guys host, Skywalking Through Neverland, with your husband, Richard. So definitely check them out. And Vader Girl, thank you again so much for continued visits here at Mocktails from the Cantina. I'm going to start it off with a fun little game. And I said this to everybody in advance, so you were able to kind of think it out and process it. I love doing these games on the show. This is probably the highlight of it for me. Okay, so this is Would You Rather. Would you rather? Matthew Rooney's going to be working his magic behind the board. would you rather have an argument with Han Solo in the hallway on Echo Base? It was a little flirtatious, in my opinion, or a heartbreaking argument that didn't end so well on Mustafar because Anakin had just completely lost his mind while he was turning to the dark side. Ladies, would you rather? What do you have for me?
Are we putting up our
Yeah, you could put
our
up your
choices?
answer.
All right.
Eh,
I mean, Han Solo, come on. There's no contest. I don't want to be choked.
my show producer was saying that he was trying to find a photo where poor Padme wasn't getting choked. So very, very interesting that you other two ladies would prefer to be choked. And, you know, hey, to each his own. I all answers are welcome. Now, this is a trick question here.
I guess we're all into
would you
different
rather-
things.
Yes, exactly. Would you rather be a pilot for Bravo Squadron during the Battle of Naboo, which, by the way, featured Bravo 5 there on the left? She was the first female pilot that we had seen. So I don't want to go on. I want to stay on target here. But a lot of people are complaining about, oh, you know, we have all these women characters in the sequel. You know what? This is part of George's vision because George always incorporated the ladies into his saga. And, you know, the prequels are a prime example of this. Or would you rather be a handmaiden, which could be a dangerous job? It depends on which one you are, for Queen Amidala. Ladies, would you rather fly high or walk the grounds? Handmaiden?
So the handmaidens were supposed to be trained badasses. They didn't really show that.
Okay,
movie,
okay, yes. Sarah and I are going to get a little.
That's why I would
into
go for
later
that.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, yeah, I know you had some background in. I'm gonna butcher the title, but it was space. What you were in the science.
My degree is in aerospace engineering, so I worked
aerospace engineering. I would have
Yeah.
thought that you would said a pilot for that one. But the handmaidens, yes, they were trained badasses for sure. They would
And
have.
they all have women friends. Like they all like work together, and it's just looks like a really fun group of girls to be in.
Yeah, right. Because I think the Bravo pilots, you know, you're in your cockpit, you know, you're flying solo, literally, and it's not as communal as it is for the handmaidens. All right, so would you rather be the apprentice of a Jedi? There were a lot of female Jedi on the council that had trained Padawans and vice versa, or would you rather be saved, the handmaiden decoy? Played by Keira Knightley, very, very nicely, for Queen Amidala, which is probably got to be one of the riskiest handmaiden roles, at least on screen anyway. Ladies, where do we stand with this one? What does yours say?
Yabu?
I said be the decoy, just because they had a secret language where they had to talk to each other, you know, with nods and stuff like that. So I was like, that would be cool to learn all that stuff. And I don't know, it's more dangerous than it looks, you know.
Keira Knightley just had a birthday yesterday, so I posted on my page, you know, Star Wars birthday, Keira Knightley, and a lot of people were like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, she was in it. She was in it."
You know, it's crazy. I want to make a comment about Keira Knightley playing her role, because when I watched Pirates of the Caribbean that she was in shortly after that, I mean, God, the casting director killed it on that. She looks like Natalie Portman's doppelganger to me.
Yeah.
Which obviously that's why they made her the decoy. Okay, here's another question. Vader girl, I know where you're gonna swing with this one. Would you rather be the prisoner of Jabba the Hutt or a prisoner of Darth Vader, mind you, on the Death Star? All right, okay, we got two Jabba prisoners that preferred to be choked.
Well, they choked Jabba, so
and then they choked Jabba back. Yeah, so it's There's a theme here. There is a theme here. Vader Girl, I know Jabba the Hutt is your favorite character, so you did not surprise me with that one. All right, would you rather have a somewhat awkward romantic dinner? And God, that was probably the most awkward scene of all the Star Wars films ever. Or kiss Han Solo. Now, let me remind you, ladies, I made an observation for the first time, and I've seen these movies a gazillion times. There are 2 kisses in Empire Strikes Back, 2 kisses in Return of the Jedi, if my memory serves me well. And Leia initiated kiss number 2, 3, and 4. I was like, wow, she's taking control of this situation. So what would you prefer in this situation?
I like food.
I had to go with the awkward dinner.
All right, dinner.
I'm Han Solo through and through, so he and Leia's relationship was the reason I got into Star Wars. So, yeah.
Yes, and you just did that book review not super long ago, which I thought was cool when I was watching the book review that you did on the 2 together.
Oh, Courtship of Princess Leia? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it starts with Princess and
The Princess and the Scoundrel.
Princess and the Scoundrel. Yeah. And you said that the audiobook had both sides of the story. Which I thought was really, really, really cool. Okay, would you rather be responsible for stealing the plans to the Death Star, or one of the commanders of Echo Base? Obviously, Leia filled that role and filled it successfully. Where do you stand with this mission? And you got to kind of think about Jyn Erso did this for her father first and foremost. So, where does that put you, ladies, at?
And that's your favorite movie, isn't it?
It is still my favorite movie, yes. Steal the plans, Commander General, and steal plans for the Death Star. Okay, and you're okay with knowing that your fate isn't going to end well.
But you did something really cool before you went, so.
You'll live on in history. I just prefer to be in charge, so.
And you're doing it for the cause. Yes, yeah. I don't think Jyn was necessarily. I don't think Jyn was not in charge at all. I just think she had so many people, and she was kind of the last one on board too, you know? But man, what a great film. Okay, would you rather find out that Luke Skywalker is your brother or that Darth Vader is your father? Now, mind you, you've already kissed your brother. And some of you might have been a prisoner of Darth Vader as well.
That was never a caveat to our agreement when I was writing this down. So I'm going to say Luke is my brother.
My brother Vader. Eo, where you stand here?
Oh, I think she's frozen.
Hey, you know what? She got the Han and carbonite treatment. Yeah, okay, you're unfrozen here. Luke is your brother?
Oh, there we go.
Nice.
Okay. Now,
yeah, my twin died before I was born, so I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah. And I think both of those are going to require a little bit of therapy session. Okay, on to the next game. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. This I usually like playing this with couples, but we're going to play it amongst the ladies. You ladies seem to be on the same page for the most part.
Wait, I have a question. Do we write true or false? Is that what we write?
You know what? If you wrote true, that's going to be agree.
Oh, agree or disagree. Okay.
Yeah, agree or disagree. Jyn Erso, sticking with Rogue One here, Jyn Erso is the #1 badass female of all the Star Wars films. All the Star Wars films. And I won't throw you off the show if you say no. Agree. Okay. Agree. We got one agree. We got 2 disagrees. Okay. Vader Girl and Sarah, who do you think is the #1 badass female character of all the Star Wars films?
Leia
or Padme is pretty close, but yeah, Leia, the original.
Yeah, if you took the love story out of Padme's life, I think Padme might be a little stronger of a character. But you know what? She put her foot down too with Anakin, right? The love story. She's like, no, we shouldn't do this. We can't do this. I felt like she was a very, very, very strong-headed woman, and Leia, of course, as well. I just love Rogue One and everything about it.
I was thinking Padme till I
Same here.
remembered she died of a broken heart. Then that changed.
Yes, and I can I can easily see that. That was kind of a, but that does happen. That does happen in life. Hopefully not with the choking. Okay, Rey is the most unstable female character in the Star Wars films. I personally think that Rey is a little bit like myself. She is emotionally unstable sometimes, especially for somebody with all these force powers. Ladies, how do you feel about Rey being a little unstable? Disagree? Okay. Agree. Sarah, who would you say is the most unstable Star Wars character when it comes to the ladies in the Star Wars universe?
Actually, my mind goes to Poe because his character totally changes between like different episodes.
Oh yeah, yes. When you look at male and female together, yes, yeah, for sure. I think Poe is a hot mess.
Just because
sure.
I think he was directed differently in each of them, but that's just me. Well, or I mean, there's I don't know, Darth Maul. I mean, Maul, when he comes back to life, he's like crazy. I know I'm not keeping it with just female, but like,
yeah,
he's definitely has some issues.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think all the dark side characters definitely have that unstable side to them.
And I put for now
yes,
because things could change in the new movies. She's going to be in the new movies.
Yes. You're absolutely right about that. So for now, I would say for sure. God knows what's going to happen in the Accolade series. But it looks good. But of course, different than the movie, right? TV show. Sorry, I'm reading my phone here. I usually don't read my phone. Han is hotter than Luke. This is a little bit of an attraction question. Han is hotter than Luke. Where do you ladies stand with this? Agree? Okay, so we are after Han Solo.
And I'm not a Han Solo fan, but he is cuter.
You're not a Han Solo fan? Oh, Vader
no.
girl, what?
I was kind of glad when they killed him off.
Kind of glad.
Sorry.
It's okay. You can have your opinion. No problem. It's all good.
It seems to be one of these controversial statements. I'm okay with it because I know that's what Harrison Ford said.
That's exactly why I was okay with it.
Okay,
hey,
nice.
You should kill me in Return of the Jedi. They never did. So it's like, okay. And then they finally do. They finally give him his wish. And then the fan base, goes, half the fan base goes crazy. I know Dan Manson lost his mind. He's like, no, that's not right. A lot of other people did as well. Okay, sticking with the attraction question here. Ewan McGregor is hotter than Liam Neeson. Now, I don't know if that's a good photo of Ewan McGregor because I did have a man crush on him for a long time. All right, where are we at? Agree.
Okay. I made a decision now. Let's
see.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Ewan McGregor is hotter. Okay. And a lot, I would say a lot younger as well, right?
Yeah.
All right, sticking with the controversial stuff. The prequels are better than the sequels. The prequels are better than the sequels.
I love the prequels.
Okay, no, that's I think a lot of people are right there.
I'm always afraid to agree that I like the prequels better.
No, don't be afraid anymore.
I got my Jar Jar action figures over here. No shame.
No,
I'm like Naboo handmaiden thing right here. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, it's funny too. It's a 25th anniversary year of the Phantom Menace, which makes me wonder, like, wow, 25 years really did go by super fast. I felt like last year was the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace because I felt like that just happened. But this film is being celebrated this year. I mean, they're doing the big screening of the film again, and people are people have come around. I know when the film first was released, it was a little mixed because we didn't have Star Wars for 17 years. Triumph the Dog didn't help that situation either. But I was always a fan, and I know you ladies were, of the prequels for the most part. All right, the female Jedi are cooler than the handmaidens. I have a feeling what your answer is going to be, because I know you disagree. Yeah, disagree. Yeah, are you disagreeing? Yeah, you're disagreeing there too. Okay, I love the Jedi, but like you said, the handmaidens were trained to be badasses too. The original, here's a very serious
Except
question.
for this one.
Except for that one, yes. Ahsoka. This is something that we hear a lot. You hear a lot. You know, the fans are saying that, oh wow, there's all these female characters in the Disney era Star Wars, and I'm like, who gives a shit? I'm like, this was part of Lucas's plan from the beginning. Do you feel like the original trilogy lacks female characters?
It's not lacking shit.
You disagree? Okay, you say
I mean,
it's
I
a
kind of think it is, because for a long time Leia was like the only one. Now, behind the scenes is kind of a different story.
Yes. Okay, agree. Okay, Vader girl. So you're cool with just the world of Princess Leia then?
Yep.
You know,
don't change what's
Mon
not
Mothma.
broken. Don't fix what's not broken.
And yeah, you can't forget about Mon. But Mon Mothma didn't get one of these, right?
Oh.
Well, she did now. She did now, obviously. And they made a retro one of her, which I think is so cool, because I felt like they made General Madine, they should have made Mon Mothma. You know, the two go together. But I feel like when it comes to toys, Sarah, we'll talk later on the show about the toys situation as well. There was only one character for the ladies to play with. Okay, last round of games here. Either or. Simply pick one, Han or Luke. This is a little redundant after we just had a Han love fest for a minute there. Oh, Luke. Yeah, okay, yes, because you said that Han is cuter, Vader girl, but you're a fan of Luke. Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon? I'm talking characters, not actors here.
Oh man. Well,
It's
actually,
tough, right?
character-wise, I
is
have
tough.
to go. I have to go Qui-Gon.
Okay. Ia, are you not a fan of Qui-Gon, or why do you prefer Obi-Wan over Qui-Gon?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry, I cut out for a second.
I said, is there a reason why you prefer Obi-Wan over Qui-Gon?
I guess probably I felt like whenever the movies came out that I probably was about like his age whenever the prequels came out, like the character's age, you know, like so I probably associated with him better than I associated with Qui-Gon at the time back in '99.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I think I related to Qui-Gon's character, especially from a spiritual standpoint. Again, Star Wars character relation is huge in all of our lives. Okay, Poe or Finn? Poe or Finn? One of the unstable ones here. Okay, Poe over Finn. Okay, Jin over Rey. Jin or Rey, I should say. Jyn Erso is the winner on that one. Here's one that I know because you ladies. I know, Sarah, you were the first film you saw. I want to say was Return of the Jedi, if I remember correctly. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Empire Strikes Back is a fan favorite. Either or for you ladies, Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Oh, even though it's the first one you saw, you still like Empire more?
Yeah, the way I saw it was I saw Return of the Jedi one night, the next night I watched Empire, and the next night I watched Star Wars, and then the next 3 nights I watched them all over again the right way. And I was obsessed. Yeah. So yeah, but Empire was my favorite because of Han and Leia and the kissy lovey scene.
Yeah, that whole romantic relationship I think is better in Empire than Jedi. Sticking with Return of the Jedi, Wookiees or Ewoks?
Oh,
I would think, yeah, she's just gonna hold him up. That's her answer, ladies and gentlemen.
That is awesome.
That is a cool Wicket.
That's awesome.
That's a cool Wicket collectible right there. I want one of those.
I have a big Chewbacca kind of like that, but I still
Really?
prefer Ewoks.
Yeah, the Ewoks. I never disliked the Ewoks. Oh, last question here. Norway, not Norway. I always call it Norway. Hoth or Tatooine?
I almost wrote Hoth on here. I knew what you meant.
Or do we like it cold?
Okay. Well, I'm going.
I like the cold.
We're going Italy. We're going Italy then. All right. Hey, ladies, thank you so much for having some fun on the first half of this show with me. I really appreciate you doing this. So, Vader Girl, where can people follow you?
Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Awesome. We will see you on your next appearance here. And again, thank you for your continued appearance. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Yeah, you have a Patreon page, right, Ia?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And where can people go?
Yeah.
Where can people check you out?
My sign on or my handle is usually my name on just about every social media. So, and Patreon, it's Iaboo. So.
Okay. Okay.
Just about everywhere.
And one of these days I'm going to get you on the show with your husband as well. So again,
that'd be cool.
Thank you again, ladies. I really appreciate you being part of the show. Thank you. All right, Sarah. I want to do a little bit of some history here with the importance of women in the early phase of Star Wars. Obviously, George Lucas was married to Marcia Lucas, who was really like, after watching some documentaries, she was like the beaming light, the one that he went to when when he had hit a bump in the road, and obviously making that first film was so challenging for him. Do you think if you would have taken her out of the equation, do you think that he would have even been able to get the film done?
I don't think so, because Richard and I have talked with editor Paul Hirsch, who also edited on Star Wars, and he and like 3 other editors, including Marcia Lucas, were basically putting that film together, towards the end, towards the last minute. And she always had the input of like emotional scenes, and then also the very final battle, the way it's structured, where the Death Star trench run and all of that, the way it's structured, where it kind of stops, where there's no music, where there is music, like she helped create that pacing for the final battle. And that right there is so significant in, I think, why Star Wars was such a huge hit in 77 and why it just outlasted.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been it would have been the same. Matthew, do you know a little bit about? Do you agree with that statement that she was the one that made the film what it was? In the end, it all comes down to editing in the end.
Yeah, mostly what I know about her comes from that documentary that was done last year. I forgot the company that did it, but they interviewed her on video, I think, for the first time. Certainly he would have finished it, but as you say, it wouldn't have been the same, and maybe it would not have been as impactful. And after kind of knowing what role she played on all 3 of the original trilogy films, especially with those emotional scenes, as Sarah was saying, it's kind of easy to see how her touch was lost. Although I think the prequels have their own charm to them because it's sort of unbridled George. But certainly they have their own character that the later films didn't have.
Yeah, no, Sarah, let's kind of talk about that, right? Because we, mostly we can agree that the female characters in the original saga were lacking. Carrie Fisher was, the driving, the driving force
Right.
behind that.
I do have a story about that, actually.
Yes,
So,
I'd love to hear it.
yeah, so Richard was at the what is it? The Celebration Zero, which is Starlog's something celebration.
1987, yes.
In 1987, he was in the room for the George Lucas Q&A, and we have that on our YouTube channel. He recorded it. And it's bad grainy video, but you can hear everything, and I believe we captioned it too, like his question, like the questions and his answers. And one question was, a woman asked him, "Why are there no women in Star Wars besides Leia?" And George Lucas's answer at the time was, "Well, in war, there's no females in war. It's all men, like in the trenches." Was like his answer at that point. Now, since then, he's had a daughter. He's the world has changed a little bit, and so of course there's a lot more women in the prequel trilogy. But at that time, it's really interesting to hear that answer in 1987. So, but his mind, like everything kind of changed and shifted, and you get a lot more interesting and characters of color in the prequels as well.
Yeah, it's very, very diverse. A lot more diverse, which is funny because, you always hear about Star Wars coming out in 77. There was nothing like this film. Obviously, the special effects were a huge part of that. I do know and realize that the story was inspired by some other things. One of the things that I kind of stumbled upon was the screenwriter for the first screenwriter for The Empire Strikes Back, Lee Brackett. She had died in 78. It was. That was the last thing that she had written. She died very, very young as well, but she was writing science fiction stuff for a long time. She was known as like the queen of science fiction, if you will. Paraphrasing that. So there was some influence from her in the early Star Wars works based on the stuff that I've seen from her early novels. But Vietnam, it was just ending. The women's liberation movement was also very, very big, along with several other movements in the late 60s, early to mid 70s. I know George, being from California, the San Francisco-based area, that was kind of like the hub of, thinking out loud, and it was the, how do I say this? The hippie movement.
Well, I mean, in general, California is very liberal. Liberals, kind of.
Yes, and I think where George was coming from, it was a very, very liberal community. I want to say, just being an outsider looking in, I think that the women's libertarian movement had probably had a slight influence on Princess Leia's character, because she is such a strong character in 1977. I mean, we see strong characters, but I can't remember one like Leia.
Well, some of the very early scripts, Luke was supposed to be a female.
Yes.
So that is also was in his mind as well.
So again, like I said, I felt like it was always part of his plan,
Mm-hmm.
But I think as well, when you're analyzing these films, or if you're talking about them from this perspective, I don't remember what the test is called, but I remember when I was an undergraduate student in one of my classes, somebody talked about a test for old films, or any film really.
Bechdel test?
That might be what it's called, where like not only is there a female character, but are they having conversations with other females, and then are those conversations about men, or are they like independent of men as well?
Yeah, it's the Bechdel test.
Yeah. So, I mean, certainly in the original trilogy, I don't think there's any discussion between, like maybe a little bit, even in the prequels as well. Which is George's film. He's a man and he made that film. Even in the prequels, there's a little bit between the handmaidens and Padme and Attack of the Clones as well, but there's not like a lot of discussion between, you know, women, I think, and that's where I think there's a big difference with some of the newer media, which has more, you know, women in control of it, where they're putting more of that in it. And I noticed, unfortunately, that a lot of people get upset when there are you know, new episodes and films and media that have a bigger presence like that, and it's really unfortunate.
You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to have a topic like this on this show today, and I had kind of told you too that and we don't want to focus on the negative by any means, because, you know, you let the enemy win when you do that. But I every time something comes out that features a strong woman character in Star Wars, there is I'm going to say small part of the fan base, because I truly feel like it's not even half the fan base that flips out, and I'm getting a little tired of it. I said at the top of the show when I was doing my little monologue there that I was raised by women. I've always had them part of my life, that I find it, I don't want to say I necessarily find it offensive when men get mad that women are in Star Wars, but it's like, come on. It's like, why is this really upsetting you that much? I don't find it a big deal. Which I want to talk about your show, Fangirls Going Rogue. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for a long time, I know.
Yeah, since 2014, actually.
Do you have male and female listeners of your audience?
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, so Trisha Barr and I are the co-hosts, and we all founded Fangirls Going Rogue in 2014 along with my friend Teresa Delgado. And so like all three of us, we were the first all-female Star Wars fan podcast, basically. And so what was your question? Oh, do we have fans? Yes. So we have fans, both male and female.
Do you have male a male audience?
Yeah, and every other week, in fact, we have a Zoom discussion on like the latest shows. So like right now we're talking about Bad Batch, and there's probably an equal amount of women and men who come to those. Anywhere from like 6 to 15 people show up, and it's pretty much even. And it's generally the same people, and it's really awesome to hear everyone's opinions on that. And the opinions differ greatly. You know, we have we have a guy who doesn't like, you know, he's very straight white male, you know, and those opinions, but it's interesting to play off of our opinions on, you know, like WandaVision or something like that, you know, so we have a really good diverse discussion there.
Well, I think that's fantastic. When you started the show, I know you jumped on board a little later, right?
Because about a year or two after. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, I feel like there was a turning point with the females in the world of Star Wars fandom, and I feel like Ashley Eckstein was a huge part of that. Personally.
Yeah, I think partly, yes, because she founded her universe because she didn't have anything to wear when she went to conventions, or it was just guy clothes and things like that. And so she founded her universe, which gave us a whole range of things to wear, including these ears, including this outfit I'm wearing right now. Like half the clothing I own is now her universe. But she also I feel like it was a lot of girls who had grown up with the prequels, with Padme as their favorite. They did not have a voice until around 10 years after the prequels, you know, like when they were coming into fandom, getting on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, you know, and being able to voice their opinions on that. So I think at that point you got this more huge swelling of female fandom coming into discussion, you know, into the general social discussion.
Would you say that because that was happening, is that how the show Fangirls Going Rogue was kind of, I mean, you were like, hey, if Ashley has a voice for what we can wear, we should have a podcast. Like, how was the idea born?
So partly it was through Teresa Delgado. Now she is a prequel generation person. She's about 5 years younger. She's 4 years younger than me. And she grew up, the prequels was her trilogy, and Padme is like her favorite character, Darth Maul too. But so it was through her and Trisha. Also, Trisha was like invited as a guest onto the what's the big podcast back in 2010, 2011.
Oh, maybe the Force Cast. Maybe
not the Force Cast, but the other one with John I forget. Now I forget the names. But yeah.
It's so long, right?
Yeah. So she was invited on a podcast, and through voicing her opinion, she was like, okay, well, I kind of want to share this. And so through her and Teresa meeting through fandom, and through Ashley Eckstein, which is how we all met, then that became the inception of Fangirls Going Rogue.
Very, very cool. Very cool. I did not know the history on that. And people can check that show out.
Yeah, it's still going, still ongoing.
Is that a weekly show?
It's a monthly show.
Yeah, because you don't have time. I know you're doing Skywalker Through Neverland. You have a career of yourself. It's way too hard. You know what? I wanted to talk a little bit about the ladies of the Phantom Menace, because it is the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. I did, if you don't mind, Matthew, I want to do a little Did You Know here. And I know you got some images, if you can put these up for me. And Sarah, you might know some of this, you might not know, but these are a little bit more deep cut, which I know you guys specialize in. TC-14, the droid that brings the drinks to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, that is the voice of Lindsay Duncan, but it's portrayed by a male, John Fensom. And she's married. This is a crazy crossover. TC-14 is married to Green Leader from Return of the Jedi. And I'm like, how cool is that? Like, to be part of the prequels and then to be married to somebody that was part of the original trilogy.
Wow.
Like, that is crazy. Yaddle, the Jedi on the council, who's obviously a female in the species of unknown. Obviously, we don't know.
Right. We don't know the name.
That was controlled by puppeteer who died not too long ago. Phil Eason. So again, males and females working together behind the scenes. I love it. It's harmonious, right? Even PL, the Jedi, that is another male character portrayed by Michelle Cottrell. Probably butchered that name. But here's the crazy thing. She is married to Mike Cottrell, who was an Ewok on Return of the Jedi.
Wow.
Again, we're connecting the Return of the Jedi to the Phantom Menace. Yarel Poof, who I always thought was a female Jedi character. Yarel Poof, and I'm probably butchering that name as well, but this character was a running gag on Robot Chicken. But this is controlled in the Jedi Council scenes by a female puppeteer, Michelle Taylor. And if you look at these credits, Michelle Taylor, she is worked on a lot of really, really cool effects. Bravo 5, of course, played by Celia Emery. She was the first female pilot that we see in the Star Wars saga. This actress had a very, very small role, but has been in 182 films.
Wow.
And the odd thing is, she is one of the few cast members from The Phantom Menace that's not known for The Phantom Menace. Because she's been in so many different things and has won so many different awards. But I want to hear a little bit of your knowledge about the Handmaidens because I know you're very familiar with those novels.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite book and or a favorite handmaiden?
Oh my gosh. So I really like Sabe. She's the handmaiden that they most focus on, and that's the one who is played by Keira Knightley in The Phantom Menace. But I mean, her character in the novels, the is really interesting, and she's probably the main number one handmaiden and kind of gives jobs to the other handmaidens and things like that. And what's really interesting in the novels, they all had different names, but when they became handmaidens to Padme, they all took on that May kind of ending. So Rabe, Irite, Yane, Sashe, and Sabe. And
Yeah.
that was all like in a ceremony that they did. It's really, these novels are so great because they really get into it. They really also flesh out, you know, Queen Amidala, she changes clothes so often, right? Like every scene, she's in a new garment. Well, in the novels, they really flesh out like these handmaidens create these costumes. They're not only made of beautiful materials, they're made of material that are like body armor. It's protective. It actually helps her and is meant to protect her. And there's also like hidden pockets and things and weapons and stuff. It's so cool. It's like amazing what they do. So
yeah, this is the kind of stuff that's so cool. It's like I wish it was in the film. You know?
Oh yeah. No, me too. I think it's great. And just those little things in novels that you can really get down deep into. I remember also Leia, Princess of Alderaan, that novel. Like there's this moment where this is kind of off topic a little bit, but this is what you could do in a novel. There's this moment where she meets this guy. She's maybe 17 or something, and she meets a guy and they have a romantic interlude and he unbraids her hair. And that's like basically it was taking her virginity, but like unbraiding the hair is a big deal for Alderanian women, you know, like letting someone do that. Because if you you see Leia, she has her hair braided, you know, in very intricate patterns. So
yes,
that was very cool.
You know, I wanted to ask you, but before I forget, speaking about Padme Amidala, she does in the films, she changes outfits so many different times. Do you have and Matthew, I don't know how fast you can dig up this image to put you on the spot here. Do you have a favorite Padme outfit?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh gosh. I
I'm
mean,
putting Matthew to work and I'm asking you the question.
The one that sticks out in my head is the red gown. It's like the column gown that ends in a bell shape at the bottom with like the orbs. So that like it's kind of these colors. I don't know if this is exactly based on that gown or if it's the handmaidens, but it's more red than orange. But
yeah, is it the one with the big headpiece where it comes off the side? Yes.
And in fact, Disney Parks is going to release ears that are depicting that gown, and I'm like, I have to have these.
That's cool.
They're beautiful. So it's red with like embroidery going down the middle and little orange orbs at the bottom of it.
Yeah, so let me tell you, I'm happily married to my best friend now for 15 years, but before I met her, my ex-wife, my first wedding, my mom showed up at the reception wearing that costume.
Oh my.
And wow. I think because my ex-wife's family is more old school Italian, they were like, how can you upstage the bride?
That is kind of strange.
How can you upstage the bride? You know, yes, this is one, but there is another. This is not the. You know what? Is this the one my mom? No, my mom. There's another one that's similar to this. Like I said, God, I remember.
I'd like to see your mom wearing this at a wedding.
It wasn't that way. It was the other one. I want to say Trisha Bigar, right? Was the costume designer. Does that sound familiar, Sarah?
Yes.
And I remember meeting her at Celebration 1 in 1999. But man, there was another thing about the Phantom Menace. They went all out with the costumes for this first film, you know.
Yeah. Now for Amidala, that's my favorite. But for Padme herself, I love the lake dress.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
The
my
lake dress
favorite.
is nice. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That is a really, really nice dress. How many handmaiden books are there?
There are 3.
3, yeah.
Yes.
So
I read
Matt,
the
you're
first
familiar
2.
with
I read the first 2, but I haven't read the third one. Someday I will, because I liked them as well.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed them too, and it's cool because, sorry that my window's open, but Amidala is like a persona that they all come up with together. Like it's sort of all of them enmeshed, and it's not like Padme is her own thing, and it makes so much more sense. I mean, obviously it was written afterward, and so maybe that's not what George had in mind, although maybe he did, but it makes more sense why Padme is so different in Attack of the Clones when you see her personally with Anakin.
Right.
When she's wearing the persona, that's sort of, you know, an act, so to speak.
And they talk about her voice too. You know how her voice is very low when she is the queen of
Right.
Naboo. You know, they all worked on that accent together so they could all imitate it.
Right.
Better.
And the idea was that any of them could swap in and out of the costume at any time because they could all do that performance.
Yeah.
Sarah, did you get a chance? I know Richard had met Carrie Fisher. Did you personally get a chance to meet Carrie?
Not in person, no. But I have been in the room with her. I was fortunate enough to be at the press junket for The Force Awakens. And so we were like in the front row, and there she was right there. Princess Leia, but Carrie Fisher. And also, we did meet Harrison Ford walking down the hallway, and he was in a real chipper mood. So now we know why, because they killed him off for The Force Awakens. But he was in a very good mood for that press conference.
That's hilarious. You know what? I want to talk about these. I want to talk about the Leia action figures. Do you? These are all the vintage ones. I went all old school. This one is a retro one because I didn't want to dig deep in my case. But these are the ones that, you know, Kenner had released back in the day. I'm 99.9% sure that these are all of them. Sarah, do you have a favorite
outfit? Princess Leia outfit? Yes, I love the Bespin.
I would say a favorite Princess Leia toy. I don't know if that's the same as an outfit, but you know,
toy. Yes, I have.
Out of these action figures.
Oh, out of those, I didn't have any of those action figures. I'm too young to have those. But I like the new ones, like the Forces of Destiny. They did basically like a Barbie doll Leia.
Oh, yeah, I got
in her Endor outfit, and she has she can change clothes because she's not naked underneath, but you know, she's like a doll underneath instead of have molded plastic of like they released the best, or not the Bespin. They released the Leia from Hoth, but it's all molded like to her body except for like her top, so you can't really change her outfit. But the one for Endor Leia, she has both the poncho and her Ewok dress, and you can change them out, and I love it. It's so cute.
Yeah, my daughter had I given my daughter the Endor one, and it's interchangeable. But you know, I think the hardest thing about raising my daughter is that she doesn't want to have anything to do with Star Wars. I have a feeling. I was telling some friends the other day. I said, you know, there's this Toys R Us commercial where the dad is raising his daughter. Takes place before they even make it to Toys R Us, and then when the daughter's like a teenager, he finds her in the aisle, and she's holding up the lightsaber. And
wow.
Like, that is, every time I see that commercial, I get a little weepy because I can relate to that, and I'm waiting for that moment to happen. Like I gave this one to my daughter, you know, and she doesn't hate Star Wars. She'd rather watch Guardians of the Galaxy than she would Star Wars. But
later on, she might. I mean, like my kids liked it when they were little, and now they don't hate it, but they're kind of indifferent. And so
you go through phases. I think you definitely
goes.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think you are either born with the fandom gene or you're not. Like my parents are totally not into fandom. I was the one who kind of got into fandom on my own and I was always like, let's watch Star Wars. And my mom's like, you're playing that music again? Like, no, Mom, you don't understand. Like, yeah. So I think it just, you either have it or you don't. I have a friend who also, she has a daughter who's 17 and a son who's 13. And her son is like super into any fandom. Like he'll go to Disneyland with her. He'll watch all the Disney Plus shows and things like that. And he likes Star Wars, but her daughter couldn't care less. She's like not into it at all. And so, yeah, she like would rather go to the library or something.
I'm glad to know and realize that my daughter is a fan of things, which
that's good.
Which is great. But
yeah,
I mean, she really is dedicated with her fandom, and I would say still hanging on to Bluey, even though my daughter is 9, and I swear she was Bluey first fan because she found that TV show so young when it was so new, and Paw Patrol she held on to forever. But Barbie and Disney and Guardians of the Galaxy, I want to say, are like the 3 big things that she clings to. Every time I see what she's watching on TV, she's constantly watching Disney Plus, all the Mickey and Minnie cartoons.
How old is she?
She's 9 years old, 9.5.
Okay.
I want to go back. I want to go back to Disney World. I want to go back to Disneyland. And my wife's like, I don't want to fly. I've been at Disney World every year for the last years. She's like, well, can we leave mommy at home?
You know what? Sometimes, yeah, my friend does that. She and her son will like hang out at Disneyland, and the father and daughter will go on bike rides or something, like this. So they'll kind of split up.
Yeah, so maybe I'm gonna have to do that. I want to share this real quick. This figure here, I was a huge fan when this came out. I never had this figure, but until later on, obviously I have it now. But this figure was just the outfit is awesome, and it was the first one that really had the removable helmet. And I showed this to my daughter today, and I'm like, I love this figure. She goes, why? Because the helmet comes off? I said, yeah, it's that simple. And then this one here, I swear it was this Bespin figure that I had gotten from my grandmother. And I said, Grandma, I think I opened Courtney's gift, my sister Courtney's gift. And she's like, no, that was for you. And these are not mine from my childhood. But when I first got this figure again, in 92, the pattern on this vinyl cape was just so uber nostalgic to me. I must have looked at this gown when I was a kid and just was mesmerized about that design. It's funny how things like that can really, really, truly take you back,
That's my favorite Leia outfit. The best.
I was going to ask you that. I know what your favorite Padme outfit is. So your favorite Leia outfit is the one that Lando had given to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have you done any regular Princess Leia cosplay?
So I have the regular white dress with the buns. So I wear that for like parties, so like kids party stuff. And I have cosplayed that at celebrations, like for podcast stage. It's funny. I did a lot more cosplay. Like I created a Jedi Tinkerbell outfit, Jedi Tink.
Yes.
Yeah. So like I started getting into fandom, and I do have the Huttslayer Leia, the Slave Leia outfit as well. And so I got into fandom more through cosplay, but as you start podcasting, you kind of have to choose like where you're going to spend your time. So I haven't really done much cosplay, but I do love to Disney bound. So where like the color matching or things that match. So I'm not so into creating something that's like screen accurate. I'm more like I'd rather be comfortable and depict the character like with the mouse ears and things.
Yeah,
like that.
right. Yeah, it was cool when you showed me your sleeve. I have the, and it's funny too, because my daughter saw this stuff. She's like, Daddy, can I have those? I'm like, no. I got the Queen Amidala dolls. They came out in '99 for the Phantom Menace. And they had, of course, I don't know, 4 or 5 different ones. And they were kind of on I think the one grand costume was like $59 when it came out.
Wow.
In 99. And your sleeve is so styled off of that gown.
Yeah.
It's so, and you said that's her universe.
Yeah, this is from the archives collection. So it's like it actually has pockets. It's
It
pretty
looks so
cute.
comfortable.
Yeah, it's
It's
comfy.
comfy.
It's got pockets, but then it's got the cool, bell sleeves too. So it's very fancy. It's got a nice little hood.
Yeah,
And all
again, nice-
I need are the new Amidala ears that are coming out. I think April 5th at Disneyland. I need them. 'Cause they're gonna.
And I
So
think,
is this like the Mickey Mouse ears? They're Amidala themed? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
So here, I'll find it. I'll show you guys.
I think too, the thing is that you're right about that. You'd rather be comfortable and stylish than committing to the cosplay marathon, if you will. You
Well,
said you brought it up
especially-
there.
Here.
Oh,
Here. So
oh, those are
see
pretty.
how-
Oh yeah.
aren't those
Oh,
amazing?
I like the crown too. Or is that
Yeah.
a crown?
Well, her hair looks like a halo around it, but yes, there's like a gold crown coming up above the red ears, and it's got the ornate gold to it.
It looks nice.
It's really beautiful. But see how awesome that would be with like this outfit?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
It'd be perfect. So I've got a lot of that Amidala red color stuff. So
Yeah, very cool. Well, Sarah, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show, and I want to remind people and definitely recommend people to check out Skywalking Through Neverland, which you do with your husband Richard, who has been on the show a handful of times, and Fangirls Going Rogue as well. I'm assuming that Fangirls Going Rogue can be found wherever podcasts can be found.
Yes, and fangirlsgoingrogue.com. And I also want to refer you to fangirlblog.com, which is Trisha Barr's other website that really has a focus on females in fandom, not just Star Wars, but Marvel, all things. And they have really interesting articles that are very well thought out, well written, talking about women in media, really.
And Trisha Barr has been a writer for StarWars.com for forever.
Yeah, and she's a Star Wars author as well. She wrote on Ultimate Star Wars and a Dark Side Star Wars book that's only been published, unfortunately, in French and Spanish. So it hasn't been published in English for some reason, but it's like Dark Side of Star Wars. So yeah, she's done a lot of writing, and she's written her own novel as well called Wind. And
awesome. So very high
kind
quality
of a sci-fi.
Very high quality content. So again, hey, thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and thank you for the recommendations on the content. Tell your husband Richard I said hello.
I will. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you.
Yay.
Take care. Matthew, I want to thank everything that you're doing behind the scenes there. And I want to remind everybody to check out Mocktails from the Cantina on Patreon. Remember, join for free for a week. We've had over 1,000 posts now since January of 2021. We just dropped the 2-part, 2-hour extensive interview with producer Jim Bloom. Remember, too, I'm going to give away an 8x10 signed by Jim on the Mocktails from the Cantina anniversary show, the 4th year anniversary show coming up next month on 4/20. There it is. It's actually going to be better than that. It's going to be a close-up of him. I am your show host, Chris Monk. I also want to thank my other guests, Iabu Windermere, Vader Girl, Sarah Wolowski from Skywalking Through Neverland, and my beautiful wife for doing tonight's show intro. We will catch you guys next time on another episode of Mocktails from the Cantina, another round, the live, I almost said the podcast edition of this show. The live show, next show is going to be 4/20. So long, and stay away from too much Easter grass, everybody. We'll catch you next time.